to Guile, but right now NuckleDu's just. All right, what is Chris doing here? Oh, he's doing the taunt combo.
Oh, Christopher G! The double taunt combo!
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Born Free here. I am here with EG Christopher G. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I got top 8 Marvel and Street Fighter, so you know, I'm just gonna do my thing.
Yeah, which is just winning all the time, it seems. Actually, where's the term? When did you first hear the term Christopher Genius? Where did that come from?
It was always really weird because you know, I put my name as Chris G. You know, kind of to stand out.
Gonzalez, right?
Yeah. You know, because I always figured, hey, you know, Justin Wong, he just uses his real name.
Yeah,
I was like, why can't I just do the same thing, right? So I called myself Chris G. But it seemed for some reason people actually didn't know what the G standed for. So, you know, like obviously it's my last name, but then it just became like a meme, you know. It's the G stands for this, the G stands for gangster, the G stands for genius.
Yeah.
And
Christopher Jesus as well, right?
yeah, Christopher Jesus with a G. and it's really funny, but like, you know, like right now the G stands for Guile because I happen to play Guile now. So it's whatever the stream monsters want to come up with.
All right, so Guile, let's talk about Guile. Why did you originally pick him? What was it that drew you to Guile?
Well, when Street Fighter V came out, you know, everyone pretty much had like a character crisis.
Yes.
I think it was mainly because they weren't really enjoying the game itself. So, you know, having a character that complements your play style, you know, is really hard. So, you know, originally I had played Nash and Cammy, and you know, I was doing okay, but I wasn't doing good enough. And I again, like a big reason was because I wasn't really enjoying it. I was like, why do I feel like I have to always do things? That's not the type of player I am. You know, I want to play more defensive, and you know, the game doesn't allow defensive play too much. So, you know, when the DLC was being released, you know, Guile was being announced, I was like, you know what? Why not, right? I was playing on my stream, you know, and you know, I downloaded Guile, and at first I was like, wow, this character sucks. But then I realized, you know, projectiles and combos, you know, that's all me. So, you know, when I first started doing the combo loop with Guile, it felt so powering. I was like, wow, this game actually has combos.
Yeah.
And I can actually do stuff. And because I play soccer in Street Fighter 4.
I know.
And I love doing long, unnecessary combos.
Yeah.
So
They're very demoralizing. Long combos are very mentally demoralizing.
yes, exactly. Like I want to stun you. I want to make sure that, hey, I just did this long combo. If I hit you again, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And you know, when I started doing that with Guile, I felt the power.
Yeah.
Even if he wasn't like the best character in the game, I just felt like he did compliment me finally.
Yeah.
And so I stuck with him ever since.
And then he got buffed and got a little bit better, but it felt like you already felt he was strong, which was good. Do
Yes.
you are you like 100% Guile now, or do you have like secondaries?
Oh yes, I pretty much started playing all of DLC because I feel like, again, the rest of the game just isn't really so fun. So I did want to keep playing Nash. Obviously, Nash sucks. You know, I'm not even gonna lie about that. He just sucks. And I did pick up Urien and Ibuki. And again, I did pick up Urien and Ibuki when they weren't so great.
Yeah.
You know, it just so happened that they got the buffs, and
I mean, they're
it
fun. They're
worked
fun,
out for me.
They're fun characters, right? I feel
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
DLC characters are a little bit more fun, and we'll talk about that actually.
Besides Alex, you know, we don't talk about that.
Besides Alex, yeah. There's a lot of campaigns online, particularly from Demon Dan. Shouts out to Demon Dan for every day, every single
That guy's
day,
awesome, man.
like trying to make Alex better. Talking of season 1 to season 2, as you look at the direction the game is going in, do you feel like you understand what they're trying to do? And if you do you like the direction the game is going in?
Season 1, like the best characters in the game were also footsie characters. You know, Chun-Li, Ryu, Ken, Akali, like characters that like kind of hitting you like straightforward. But then I guess in season 2, the end of season 1, they were like, well, these characters are too strong. And the other characters, which were 50-50 characters, aren't strong enough. So
Yeah.
what do? They just reversed it.
Yeah.
Footsie characters suck. Mix-up characters are where it's at right now,
Yeah.
you know. So which is why everyone's still playing Mika, which is why everyone's still playing Laura.
Right.
Everyone's playing Ibuki now. I don't know where that came from. Urien, you know, characters that just, okay, well, time to go nuts. See if I get a hit, and then run it back. And
Do you feel like what is it in your head? Like, where do you think they're trying to push the game? Like, what do you think their goals are?
I don't know. It's very confusing because you could tell that they want a more balanced footsie game, but like the results speak for themselves, right? You have nothing but mix-up characters winning.
Okay.
And then, you know, obviously with the new patch coming out, it looks like it's going even in a worse direction. To me personally, I don't know. Other
Okay.
people be like, oh, you know, this is what I wanted.
No, it's totally subjective. That's why I want to hear it from you. I want to
Um,
hear your point of view.
You know, so you did kind of nerf Guile, you know, you did kind of nerf Urien. But then, again, like characters like Balrog, you know, pretty much lore. Zangief might be top 3 now, you know. And,
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I don't think the game will be great when characters that are nutty, that are just going ham, they just pushing buttons on you. That's not a fun game to me, you know. And it sucks because Guile is top tier. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Guile and Urien are top tier, but they're the equalizers. They're the
Yeah.
type of characters where it's like, okay, this game is completely nuts.
Yeah.
Then you have these two characters that are kind of stopping. They're halting, you know, everybody.
Like control characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, nobody could play Guile. You can't just pick up the character and use them. You can't just
yeah.
pick up Urien and use them.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like by nerfing those characters, it's just going to allow the crazier characters to just run amok. And
So you think they're looking for more upsets, possibly? Like as the game is developed, they've always said they wanted to bring like an element of being able to like pick up and play, and you know, beginners get closer to have a bit more of a chance than maybe they did in the past. Do you feel like that's sort of part of their thought process?
again, it's what it would seem, but when a character can touch you from literally anywhere on the screen and then you just lose,
Yeah.
you know, aka Balrog, aka Mika, aka Laura, like any character that could just touch you at any point and you just lose the game, lose the round, it doesn't look good to anything. It doesn't look good to anyone.
So let me ask you this then, because we're going to move quickly because you've actually got finals to go to soon. What are your hopes for the future of Street Fighter V? Like, if you were like a game developer and you were like thinking about the future of the game, like what would you hope to see?
I personally, I think wake up, well, not wake ups, but wake up buttons. I think they're too good.
Oh, yeah?
The disrespect is too high in this game.
Okay.
And I feel like one thing that they can do is make waking up like an extra frame, a frame or two, so you can't just like start mashing out.
Okay.
Like if you could wake up DP, that's cool. But being able to wake up with buttons and you mistimed your meeting and stuff like that, I feel like that's a stupid excuse for a flawed system. Also, you know, dumb things like jabs, anti-air jabs.
Yeah.
Like characters have crouching jabs as anti-airs, and you're just like, that doesn't even make any sense. You know, I feel like I want them to make the game like what it should be. Like, okay, cool, you anti-air with crouching fierces or you know, DPs, anti-airs. That's what the game was for. You have anti-airs for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, pressure shouldn't be so one-sided.
Okay.
And I feel like, you know, when you get knocked down, it shouldn't be the end of the game.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like V-Trigger is semi-scrubby for a
Okay.
lot of characters. We're just like, oh, I activated, now I'm plus 1,000, now you're dead.
Yeah.
And
Or the one stun combo on a missed EX DP is scaring the hell out of me.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you miss DP and somebody has.
And I use the bar to do that, by the way.
Yeah. And you have to use the bar. You're right.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm hoping that was a mistake, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Hopefully, you know, I'm not gonna say I have too much faith in Capcom. I have more faith in them making Marvel Infinite.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that.
than I do in Street Fighter V at this point. But I guess with the rest of the DLC, I mean, maybe that'll be fun.
So let's talk about Marvel then. We'll switch gears a little bit on Marvel. So you got Marvel coming. You obviously got your eye on it, right? We've not really seen much of it. What are your hopes for Marvel?
Regardless of whether or not it is the worst game of all time, regardless of that, it could be the worst game of all time. Every game coming out could be the worst game of all time.
There's never any guarantees. I said this before Street Fighter 5. I said there's never any guarantees. Like when a new game comes, like it's a whole new thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, sorry, carry on.
I just want it to be creative.
Creative.
I want to be able to do things that other people can't.
Yeah.
And again, going back to Street Fighter, that's the reason why I picked Sakura in Street Fighter 4, which is why I picked Guile in Street Fighter 5. I want to do things that other people can't do.
Okay.
And, whether or not it's combos, just the style itself, I want to be able to be defensive and still win. Again, I just want options.
Okay.
I don't want it to be a rush down frenzy of just button pushing.
Yeah.
I actually hate that, and I hate watching it.
Yeah.
So, for Marvel Infinite, I just want options, whatever it may be.
Options and creativity.
Oh, and one more thing, and good online, please, good netcode something. Just, I don't know, who do I have to pray to? I don't know, like, who has to get bribed? But come on, man, this is 2017.
We'll crowdfund it. We'll crowdfund it. We'll crowdfund it. Okay, so let's talk about current competition. I want to ask you, with Guile, I guess I have two questions. With Guile, what are your hardest matchups character-wise? And then tell me, who are your demons player-wise?
Character-wise for Guile, I used to always have a problem with Nikali,
Okay.
but I've learned how to beat that now.
Oh, okay.
Right now, actually, the character that's giving me the most problems is Karen right now.
Okay.
Because, again, it's just one of those things where you get touched once and you might not ever get up.
Okay. Just extreme pressure?
Yeah, like Guile will always lose to characters pushing buttons on him and going in and stuff like that. And the thing is that, like, the game itself is the problem for Guile.
Yeah.
Because Guile can keep you out all day, and then when you get V-Trigger, oh my God, how did I forget? It's Borog, easily.
Oh, Barrow?
Yeah, oh my God.
Because of the V-Trigger and the pressure?
Yeah, V-Trigger, V-Skill, everything. Like, I've played a lot of Borogs, and the best Borogs as well.
Yeah.
And, feeling so helpless, like not being able to throw a projectile is actually crazy. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And
that's true. He's totally, he has the V skill, right? Yeah, that's kind of scary.
And, thank God I do have a counter pick for that, which is Urien.
Cool. Okay.
Other than that, it's really scary. Just doing what Guile does, you can't do it. So
No, it is scary against Barrow. When he gets that V trigger, as an Akuma player, I watched the viral video of Takedo, and like one jump in, he was done. So that is very scary. So let's talk about players. Which players are your demons right now?
actually, it was Haitani.
It was.
He's definitely he's beat me 3 different occasions already.
Okay.
But this weekend I actually beat him 2-0 in tournament.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Yeah.
What was it you'd figured out? Was there one single thing, or was it a bunch of stuff?
I reacted to every V skill. When he pounded the ground, I actually was able to jump it every single time.
Did you practice that a lot? Or?
Because I've hated Nikali since season 1, and definitely in season 1 there was a reason to hate Nikali.
Yeah.
But I've learned to slow things down. I've learned to get better, myself and tighten things up. And as I as I played more Nikalis, I started to address the matchup differently.
Yeah.
Play less scared and try to keep the mid-screen game, and that's important.
Yeah.
If I get pushed to the corner, obviously it's a wrap.
Yeah.
But if I keep the mid-screen game and just start to react to things, I can actually beat him. And so I finally beat him, and it felt really good. Like I was like, wow, like I did it.
Yeah.
And I actually thought I was going to lose to him.
Yeah.
But
And now you're feeling pretty confident against Nikalis.
Yes, exactly.
That's good. I love that. I love hearing stories like that. Okay, so Haitani, it was Haitani. What about now? Is there anyone now? We're going into a top 8 right now, right? When this video comes out, everyone will have known what had happened.
Yeah.
But are there any players in the top 8 right now where you're like, okay?
Well, obviously I've lost to Du, I've lost to Smug, You know, that it is what it
and
is.
then there was Punk, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
There was-
Punk,
There
yeah.
was Punk at West Warzone, which
Yeah.
have you looked back on the tapes or thought about? I remember like Michael Martin did a quick interview with you guys, and you were at that point you were already processing it. You were like,
Yeah, I already knew. I do that a lot. Even especially when the match is going on. Because my big problem is when I mess up, I start to let it affect me. And I've always been like that. And it's a big flaw. It definitely is a big flaw.
Yeah.
And most people have told me, I've had hundreds upon hundreds of people tell me, they're like, oh, you can only lose to yourself.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't lose to anybody. In
Yeah.
Marvel, I've never lost to anybody
Uh-huh.
unless I just go, oh, whatever. I get mad, I drop something, and that's
Yeah,
it. And against Punk, that's exactly what happened. There's a point early on in the set when I won the first game, and then the second game, I dropped my V-trigger combo, and then it just kind of started to go downhill. And
and so
you
it
know-
just I know what you're saying. It's like you just kind of like lost emotionally.
Yeah.
You lost the game.
like, because the first game when I won, I was like, oh snap, like I'm ready to win.
Yeah.
And then I started to mess up, and there was one point where it was the reset, and it was 1-1, and we both had a pixel. And, like, I guess I messed up. I tried to do Sonic Boom, but I got Crouching Fierce, and I'm like, and, he just walks up and just sweeps.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
God, like, come on,
Execution
man.
error.
Yep.
Execution error. Yeah.
And then I dropped the V-trigger combo again. It was a wrap from there. Even though I can easily, like, regain myself.
Yeah.
But the what ifs really bother me.
Yeah, I understand. All right, so let's move on a little bit. Let's talk about. I want to ask you about training schedule, because I have no idea, right? Like you play so many different games. Like I often wonder, like people who play lots of different games, like how the hell do they train? Like what do they have time for? Like, do you like what is your training schedule like? What does it consist of? How much time is it?
This is most people don't like hearing this, but I don't really train too much.
I knew you were going to say that. I don't know why, but I think it's because you're processing things as you go along.
Yes. It's always been like that for me. Whenever I play a game, I go into training mode. Obviously, every goes into training mode. You start learning combos.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to learn more crazier things to do,
Yeah.
I learn how to do them first on my opponents.
Yeah.
And more importantly, do them on my opponents at different circumstances.
Yeah.
So, did I get the counter hit? Did I hit you in the air? Did I get an air confirm first? How did the combo first start? I start processing these, different situations, because it's better than going, oh well, I was just trying to hit this one thing, and I failed. Why did you fail? Oh, because he was like this far apart. He was this. He was this. He was this. I'm like, well, that was the more important thing you should have been looking for.
When you're trying all this new stuff, when you're trying something new in the game, like surely you must have losses, right?
Oh, of course.
And-
I've definitely trolled my way out of a tournament before, and
No, I mean like when you're training, right? So like a lot. The reason why a lot of beginners, I'm talking more about like people who are trying to understand how to get better at the game, right?
Okay.
So they will go into a match, and they will want to implement like try something new, but they'll get so salty about like the opposing player, they will go back to their old tricks and they won't progress in that context. And my question to you is like, when you're trying the new stuff, do you have a mindset of like, I don't really care if I lose as long as I am, as long as my character is, as long as I'm learning how to do new stuff with the character? Or are you just one of these guys who can do both, win and implement the new stuff?
For the most part, yes, you can do that. But a lot of times it does cost matches. Like, when people are like, oh, I have this character-specific combo, I have this character-specific tech. If he does this, I can do a just frame, blah, 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 and then I can win in theory.
Yeah.
But I don't like doing theory fighting.
Yeah.
Theory fighting is... I'm not going to say half the game. It's probably 1/3 of the game. Because you do want to go, okay, how can this character deal with this in this certain situation? Stuff like that. Yeah, cool. It could work. But when you're trying so hard to like focus on that one thing where you're like, you know what, when he does this, I'm gonna be so ready. When it finally happens, you weren't.
Yeah.
So, you know, like a basic example would be like me, you know, Guile. A character can have 3 bars,
Yeah.
right? 3 bars against me, right? Let's say simple Karen, right?
Mm-hmm.
She can duck under sonic booms and get full combo, right? I could tell when somebody's really waiting for that. They're like, I'm not going to do absolutely anything else. I'm going to wait for the sonic boom, and I'm going to do the Tenko. I'm going to get the follow-up. I'm going to do this cool mix-up and all this stuff. And guess what? I've already thrown 5 sonic booms. You weren't ready because you were waiting so hard.
Yeah.
When you're playing a game, right? Yes, you start thinking about that. You're like, okay, cool. When this happens, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show everybody that I have the best reactions, blah, blah, blah. You know, but you have to take it as like the moment type thing.
Yeah.
Never wait for the moment.
Yeah.
You have to take it when it happens.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I'll do like cool stuff when I least expect it. You know, I'd be like, oh snap, he actually did that. Okay, now I'm gonna go do this cool thing.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I'm hoping he does it.
Got
and
it,
then you
got it,
freeze, and then you freeze. Next thing you know, you just walked all the way into the corner. You're like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
And you know, like I play Guile. I shouldn't be walking you into the corner.
Yeah.
But I actually started doing that because I'm like, he's waiting. He's waiting
Yeah.
for it. And
Yeah.
you know, it does mess people up. And you have to learn a balance between the two.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. So let me ask you a fun question. I think it's a fun question. I know you don't fear anyone or anything like that, but do you have a favorite player at the moment? And do you have a favorite player of all time?
Yeah, I've actually always enjoyed Bonchan. Bonchan, yeah, just like Punk,
Just like Punk?
because he is the cleanest player out there.
Okay.
And, you know, he's shown time and time again, you know, character loyalty, you know, things like that. He just, like, I guess out of all the Japanese people, like, he is, like, really cool. He looks cool. You know, he's always super collected, and he plays his own style, and he does his own thing. And it's really cool to see that, like, okay, this guy's putting in so much work as the game progresses that he's still not bad.
Yeah.
Everyone knows how to fight his characters already, but for some reason, he's the only guy playing it differently.
Yeah.
And, you know, I really look up to that.
And you made top 8 this weekend with Nash.
Yeah, he did it with Nash.
Yeah,
I
great.
definitely thought he was going to get bodied, but you know
Yeah.
what? I did have faith, you know, like,
Yeah.
hey, maybe he actually can pull this off.
Did you have faith when he was playing PR Balrog?
No, definitely not. You see, and that's the thing. Like, that matchup sucks.
Yeah.
And
That was crazy.
he won, you know?
And is he like your favorite player of all time as well? Or
You know, I also do look up to Justin.
of course.
More of a rival thing
course,
than of actual, like, wow, like, this guy is the greatest.
But he also played Marvel. You know, he's always been a Marvel
Yeah,
god. So.
because he's played so many games.
Yeah.
And he's really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've always questioned, I'm like, you know, the same thing as me starting off, you know, the only person that we could really look up to was the Justin, because he was the one guy winning everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, to me, I was like, when he used to beat me, like, really bad without even paying attention, he used to just beat me really bad. And in my mind, I'm just like, okay, I could beat everyone here free.
Yeah.
But he made me look free. Like, and,
Yeah.
and for the longest time, I just couldn't process it. Like,
Yeah.
why am I just that bad?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I started to, like, pay attention more, you know, and it finally started to click. I'm like, okay, he is this reason because he's just that good. He has a different understanding for the game.
Yeah.
For every game. And games in general. Like, it's just, he can play other games as well. And, you know, I started to adopt that mindset where it's just like, okay, cool, you know what? If I have this certain style, I'm trying to implement it in different games and different genres and everything, and you know, you expand your mind.
Yeah.
And Justin was one of the first people to be able to do that.
So he sort of helped you understand that in order to get better, for you, in order to get better, like playing a lot of different games would be advantageous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, if you really focus on one game, you would do better in that one game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of those things where, like, you're just sitting, you're waiting to play.
Yeah.
And it does wear you down.
Yeah.
You know, when I do play multiple games, like when I'm on fire in one, I can easily be on fire in another. Like, you just start
I've
feeling it.
seen
You
that.
really start feeling
I've
it.
seen
And
you do that.
it just, like your reactions are quick. You're not
Yeah.
tired. You're not, you know, you don't feel anything.
And you're not on autopilot either.
Yes.
Because you're switching games and all that sort of stuff. All right, so talking about switching, let's switch to. I'm doing a Stage Jam segue. Switching. Another fun question is: are there any characters from the past Street Fighter games that you'd like to see in Street Fighter 5?
Oh, Sakura easily. That's the first one. Yang, I do feel like he would be a little broken in this type of game.
I think the big question is like, what would they do to these characters? Because a lot of people I've asked this question to a lot of people, and they've often said, I would like to see my character come back, but then I feel like he or she is going to be completely different.
Yeah. I do feel like Sakura definitely would be.
I think that'd just be fun, honestly, just as a casual player. I think it'd be fun to have her and Karin have this crazy intro,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
That'd be cool. But I do feel like because of the purpose of the game, she would not have cool combos, and I feel like that would sadden me because I wouldn't want to play a Sakura where I'm just doing this basic thing and everybody can do it, and now I'm not special anymore, and I don't want to feel like that.
Right.
But other than that, actually, I do want to see Sagat.
Yes.
If Sagat was in the game, I would play Sagat too.
I think we all want to see that, and it's the 30th anniversary this year, so I'm hoping that it's a bonus character this year. I'm really hoping
Sagat,
that.
the
I'm
king.
hoping that's the case, because he was the boss of Street Fighter 1 30 years ago. It feels like if you're going to release him, do it now. I would love to see that. Now, this is a silly question. Do you play other fighting games? Of course you do.
The best question.
It's a great question for other players, but for you, we all know that you play pretty much everything. I mean, what are you playing right now? Are you playing Street Fighter, Marvel? What else is on the list?
I'm gonna relearn KOF soon, because I do feel like I could do really good.
Yeah.
The same way I did good in 13.
Uh-huh.
Other than that,
And you like the look of it, like right now as a game, or is it more like I'm a pro?
We don't want to talk about how the game
No,
works.
I didn't mean like I didn't mean literally.
Yeah,
I didn't mean literally the look. I meant like are you looking at that game and going, that kind of looks like fun, I want to play it, or are you looking at a game going, I'm a pro player, there's some competitions, I should probably pick up that game?
No, I never think of that. I feel like when players do that, when they feel like they have to play a game because there's money involved or it's new or whatever, I feel like that becomes a big problem and a big burden. But for me personally, I do just like playing games. Again, like I don't like to have cold fingers. I just want to just keep playing, keep having fun.
Yeah.
You know, I do play games like League as well, League of
Yeah.
Legends.
Jesus Christ.
And
Holy Christ Jesus. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. So you're always doing something.
yeah, it to me personally, I feel like competition is everything. Like if you feel like you have to play a game because, and you lose the spirit.
Yeah.
Like if I don't enjoy a game, right? Like at first I didn't enjoy Street Fighter 5. And you know, like you start to make excuses. You're like, why am I losing and stuff? You're like, oh, am I just not that good? You're like, no, I'm just not having fun with it. And like I feel like I just want to get this over with.
Yeah.
I still sometimes feel like that, but again, like with my own style, you learn to appreciate a game in a different light. Even if it's not the greatest game, you learn it's like, okay, cool, I like what I do. And that's how I've always felt in every game. If you like what you do in that game, then you can always play it. You know, I play Guile defensive. Cool. I enjoy the way I play. I play Morrigan. I change the meta of the game. I enjoy how I play it.
Yeah.
You know, in Injustice and MK, I always had the same characters I've been playing since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And I've always liked those characters. So I'll still always enjoy it because they're in the game.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it makes things fun for you.
Yeah.
Like even if you're losing or whatnot, like you still at least come back.
Yeah. So, so you've said you play League of Legends. Are there any games that you play that are not competitive that you just play casually?
You know, I used to play a lot of like RPGs, one-player games and stuff like that.
What were some of your favorites?
I used to actually play like almost every Mario game. Like whenever they used to come
really?
out, I used to always
Yeah.
want to play them.
Yeah.
A lot of the RPGs, especially the old school RPGs, I used to play that a lot. I can actually like speed run like Mega Man X and.
So even then, you were still there was a competitive element in there.
Yeah, and it sucks because.
It wasn't like I'm just gonna leisurely play Mega Man. It's like I
Yeah.
have to get the fastest time in Mega Man.
Well, you know, I of course I enjoy the game, but then there's always that other aspect where it's like, I could have done that faster.
Okay.
You know, and then it just becomes what it is. But even games like Monopoly and stuff like that, like, you know, I'm undefeated in Monopoly, you know, in the FTC.
Apparently.
And you know, I've actually played both East Coast and West Coast, and I've won every single time. And you know, even fun games like that, it's just
Competitive nature.
yeah, it's just the way
in
it
you.
is.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to win in something, even if it was a single player game, why play it?
Yeah.
Like, fun is fun, but then it's like, if I really kept losing all day, does it stay fun?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Do you have a favorite game of all time, video game?
damn, that is really hard.
It's it's a ridiculously hard question. It's stupid
Yeah.
because there's so many games out there. If somebody asked me, I'd be like, I have no idea. But I would probably say Zelda or Street Fighter 2, going back to my childhood.
One of my favorite games was actually Mortal Kombat and Smash.
Mortal Kombat and Smash.
I
Wow.
used to hate Street Fighter.
Wow.
Street Fighter 2, I hated that game, and I still do. I actually hate the game.
Oh wow.
You know, Third Strike also was one of my favorite games. But it was different because, you know, playing competitively, you know, Third Strike, that's where it's at. But, like, at the time, playing Melee and stuff was just for fun.
Yeah.
Playing Mortal Kombat was just for fun.
Yeah.
I never knew there was, like, an outside, like, experience where you
Sure.
just be like, hey, there's, like, hundreds of people that are ready to play Melee. I'm like, what? Who said that? You know, when did that happen?
Yeah.
Like, I just used to play with my friends and stuff, and that used to be fun.
Yeah.
Same thing like Mario Party and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Those games were just meant to be fun, and it was just fun at first.
Yeah.
And then you start to realize you're like, oh snap, there's another level to this, you know? And
Yeah.
you're still doing it today.
Yeah. All right. So I want to ask you about like just life in general, because this is always a fun question, right? Because people want to know a little bit more about Chris G. So outside of fighting games, like what other stuff interests you? What kind of stuff are you into?
I pretty much like to do the fun stuff that I guess a lot of other fighting gamers, you know, a lot of other competitive gamers, you know, don't really do too much. I do like to go out. I do want to drink. I do want to have a good time. I do want to meet new people. I enjoy, you know, going to movies every now and then. I know me and my girlfriend, I actually just planned a random trip to Vegas this week. And
cool.
I'm just gonna go see some shows. Like, I love art, and everywhere I go, I've always collected a different piece of something else.
Really?
Yeah. So like some stuff I even have is like, I got a Peruvian chess set, and you know, like, I have hundreds upon hundreds of posters and all sorts of things of different cosplayers of different places.
So you probably have a strong point of view on like artistically all of the games, like how
Yes.
they look.
Yes, and that's why we don't speak on KOF. But you know, I do enjoy like having a good time, because I feel, you know, growing up, I didn't really get to do that, and you know, my life itself and my early years have been a big struggle, and you know, like, I didn't really get to enjoy the nightlife.
What was? I mean, I don't want to like bring up bad stuff, but
Yeah.
like, what was going on? Like,
You know, things personally, school, you know, not being able to go to college, work. I did try to work like any other person,
Yeah.
but I always felt like I was meant to do more things,
Yeah.
because, you know, looking back at my family, like, things weren't going so well, you know,
Okay.
and
All right.
and I didn't want to be like another stereotype, and I hated the fact that, hey, I'm just some Spanish kid
Yeah.
growing up in the Lower East Side of New York, just working at Dunkin' Donuts, you know, and I hated it. I hated a lot of it because a lot of my life was forced. I did move out of my house at 17, and I've been paying rent ever since. And, you know, I've looked out for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I wasn't able to club. I wasn't able to party. I wasn't able to do any of this stuff.
Okay.
And even when I first got into the scene, everything was just greed. I just wanted money. I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about anyone.
Okay.
And I just didn't want to live the same lifestyle I was so accustomed to.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wanted to change that so bad. But now, you know, yes, I am 26, but I do feel like I get to enjoy things a lot more now.
Yeah.
And, you know.
So you've had some life lessons, and but your life is a little bit more balanced at the moment than perhaps it was at different stages of your life.
Yeah, I do feel like I'm a lot more calm. I'm less angry than I used to be, especially if you look at my old videos. And
I remember.
compilations of
I remember.
anger and stuff like that, and salt. It used to be bad.
Yeah.
And it like, yeah, cool. It was part of a video game, but people didn't understand that it was much more than that.
Yeah.
This was my life.
Yes.
And things weren't great.
Yeah.
And now I've learned, I've understood, with experience and whatnot, that I can't keep living that way.
Yeah.
And
Because you're only hurting yourself in the end. But I get it. Like, I totally get it.
so now I'm just going nuts. I'm just doing whatever the hell I
You
want.
found your calling, right? You're
Yeah.
really, really fucking good at fighting games, and probably video games in general, but like particularly fighting games. And that's an amazing thing to be able to follow that passion and get to a spot. You got sponsored now. I think you probably, I imagine you probably feel a little bit more like, okay, people recognize me for like my abilities, and I think that's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people have told me, people who've walked up to me, that I'm a lot more personable than, I give the impression of.
Yeah, you are.
And and I think it's because I'm very relatable. I don't have this high horse. I don't hang out with top players. I don't do this whole top player privilege thing. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, what you do.
Yeah.
I just, it's either we're gonna be cool or we're not.
Yeah.
And again, like with my struggles, a lot of people do understand. Hey, I have my own struggles. We do talk. I've talked to a lot of my fans, like on a personal level, and I do like to learn. But whether or not I did go to college, I did try to go to college, but everything failed. I do learn in other ways, and I feel like as time is going on, I'm just gonna keep learning, learn to be a better person.
Ah, well, that's awesome. I think that's awesome. All right, so actually, I do want to ask you, because you said you go to the movies. Like, what kind of movies do you like?
Oh, I'll watch almost anything. I do hate horror movies because I'm not really afraid of that stuff.
You're not afraid, or you are afraid?
I'm not afraid.
Oh, you're like me.
It gets boring after a while. I'm
it
like,
gets boring?
oh, cool. The music is getting higher. Something's about to creep behind the door.
Okay.
To me, it's
Predictable.
yeah, it is. Especially since old school movies were really scary. These new school movies are like try hard.
Oh, yeah.
But
okay.
I do actually like musicals.
Oh, yeah?
Like
Tell me about that. Tell me, wait, which musicals do you like? I mean, presumably you must have seen that.
I just saw Beauty and Beast.
Okay.
It was actually a good movie, nostalgic and stuff. Like it's funny because I even go to like Disneyland. Like I have a pass to Universal Studios.
Really?
And again, like I'm just trying to enjoy myself. And
You know who else loves musicals? It's so weird. I just think of somebody else who, Seth MacFarlane. Do you ever watch Family Guy?
Yes.
Because he puts lots of musicals in Family Guy.
yes, I do like all that stuff. And
You got a favorite TV show? You watch Game of Thrones, Walking Dead?
okay, I do like Game of Thrones. I do. Game of Thrones is amazing. And it's not even because it's great. It's because no one wins. You all lose.
You all lose.
It's such a great concept where it's just
Yeah.
like, haha, too bad.
Yeah.
And like right now, actually, speaking of musicals and whatnot, I am watching Once Upon a Time.
Oh, okay.
So, it's all Disney related and whatnot.
Yeah.
I started rewatching Lost. So I'm going back into that.
It's funny, I've been trying to figure out a time when I'll be able to revisit Lost, because I love Lost, but... Love Lost. I
love Lost.
That sounds weird. But I don't know. Like, it's the backstories used to annoy me. Like, they used to go on... because the
backstories, they do it. There's like 3 times an episode. You're like, I kind of want to know what happens.
Yeah, but because the thing about Lost is they'll leave you on a cliffhanger, and then the next episode will be about a different character.
Yep.
And then 3 episodes later they'll return, and then you'll forget what the cliffhanger was. And like that was the thing about Lost. It was always just like mystery,
you are lost.
Mystery.
Everything's getting lost.
And then I'm not going to talk about the ending, but like I actually kind of understood what the writers were trying to say to people.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen Lost, then you need to see it.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I do like those manly cliche movies, guns and all that stuff. That's always fun to me.
Predator's always
Like
been-
John Wick. Like, oh, why
John
why
Wick,
why are they
yeah.
killing people? Just because he's
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
Like the end. Like
Yeah.
that's the end of the movie. So
because they killed his dog.
yeah, great reasoning. I like it.
I'm pretty much out of questions at this point, even though I feel like I could talk to you about a lot of things for a long time.
That's awesome.
The final question I always ask, and you can totally say no, but the final question I always ask is there anything that you wish I'd asked you, and is there anything that you want to talk about?
Well, first and foremost, shout outs to Evil Geniuses.
Yes.
I would not be here if it wasn't for them. It's
nice to see. It's nice to see you sponsored by.
Yeah, exactly. I've been around the game for years, and I never really had a great sponsor that took care of me for more than a couple of months.
Right.
And we've reached an understanding, and I'm going wherever I want. I make my money, and I just hope that I can do them proud. And the big thing about sponsors, and especially Evil Geniuses, is that like the weight it gets lifted off your shoulders, where you're like you don't feel like you're forced to win. Like you don't think about the money so much. You just try to calm things down, and you just hope to do good.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing lately. I've been just doing my best, and it's been showing.
I think we can see it.
Yeah.
Like, I think we can see it in you talked a little bit earlier about getting angry and stuff like that, and like how you've changed. And I think like the peak of that is sort of like, and now the sponsor comes in, and now I can relax even more.
Exactly.
I can relax, not necessarily in gameplay. I'm still going to compete, but like I don't have all these million other things at the back of my mind that I have to worry about, like my well-being and my living and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because I do everything by myself, and it does suck when you're like, I'm like forced to win right now. Like I need this, but I'm doing really good for myself. So again, thank you to Evil Geniuses. Shout out to my stream monsters, of course, the people who watch me. Shout out to all the viewers. I will be streaming probably Monday, probably tomorrow, if not Tuesday. You already know to catch me. My random rants, my salty moments, everything is all captured. So shout out to those guys who still pay attention, even though I talk a lot of crap. And shout out to everybody who comes to these events.
All right, well, you've been really gracious with your time. I want to say thank you and good luck in Marvel and in Street Fighter. Almost forgot the name of my favorite game. And we're going to say goodbye.
All right, peace out, guys.
See you guys.